Hey there, Central Ohio. Hope you've had a great week out there and you're ready for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens alongside Jay Plyburn.
I've had a terrible week.
You had a terrible week.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you ready for the weekend?
No, I'm ready for the, I live for Fridays, live for the weekend. I'm just ready for the weather to kind of be more in line with springtime and stay consistent rather than the hot versus cold, dry versus wet.
Yeah.
But
it has been kind of an interesting week out there because we've had a lot of rain that, kind of came out of last weekend and came into the start of this week, and it's been kind of cool ever since then.
I know, yeah.
But there are 70s in the forecast.
So warm, I might just shave the beard off this weekend. That 70s is warm.
Yeah, one day. You'll feel it after it's gone, though.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
Get back into the 50s, not long after that. But today, your Friday, the big weather impact is the cold temperatures. We're talking all day long, below normal. You're going to need a jacket even as you head out this afternoon, because once we get into the afternoon, well, we're only adding a couple degrees on where we started the morning. We're talking high temperatures in the upper 40s today. It is definitely a below average temperature day. Part of that reason, the cloud cover. These clouds just not going to go anywhere throughout most of the day. In fact, even by late this afternoon, still pretty overcast here in central Ohio. Combine that with winds out of the north, and it's a recipe for low temperatures. We started the day off in the upper to mid 30s across central Ohio. A few spots were near that freezing mark, like over in Millersburg, Mansfield, Urbana, but the rest of us in the mid-30s. Those temperatures are rising, and we will get warmer this afternoon, but again, colder than yesterday. We're down several degrees, probably about 10 for most spots this afternoon compared to the highs that we saw on Thursday. So where does that leave us? Well, upper 40s, in toward about 47, 48, the high this afternoon. It's a slow climb to get there. We only made our way up toward the 40s by lunchtime, and then again, kind of top out about 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon. Bad news here is the clearing. Look at when it comes. This is after sundown tonight, and I'll tell you why that's bad, because that means we're going to get cold tonight. Those clear skies over the region are going to let all of the heat of the day go right back out into space, and we are going to be looking at a very cold Saturday morning. In fact, a freeze warning in place across most of central Ohio as we head into early on your Saturday. If you're heading out to the spring game, it is going to be one you need a couple layers for, because it is going to be a cold start to the weekend. The good news is, though, it doesn't last forever. In fact, we are getting back into warm weather by Monday. We climb to 52 tomorrow, 62 on Sunday, and then we add another 10 as we head into Monday, up to about 72 in the afternoon. The bad news is that comes with rain when we get to the second half of the day, and it pushes all that warm air right back out of central Ohio. We're down into the 50s as we head into Tuesday. Those temperatures will stay below average for a good chunk of next week. At least the good news is there's not a ton of extra rain in the forecast. In fact, we should largely stay dry from now all the way through the weekend, with the exception being a stray sprinkle that we just can't 100% rule out of the cards. The next best chance for rain comes in on Monday with those storms in the back half of the day. A few linger into Tuesday, but again, we are back to dry weather once we get past that start of the week storm system next week. As for today, the reason we're stuck under these clouds, we're kind of in between a couple systems of moisture. Rain out in Pennsylvania, wraps down through West Virginia and Kentucky. That's kind of kept us socked in the middle with those clouds. But again, we're not expecting really any of that moisture to make its way toward us. Your hour-by-hour forecast here shows cloud cover sticking around throughout the day. A few of those little blips of green, you can see a tiny one there hanging out toward Urbana. Can't rule out that sprinkle chance, but again, that would be about it when it comes to rainfall potential today. The clouds start to break as we head toward tonight. The cold air settles in. Get ready for a cold spring game tomorrow as we head throughout the weekend. Saturday, again, mix of sun and clouds. Can we totally rule out a sprinkle? Not entirely. You see those little blips of green kind of swing through the region. I think even that overdoing our rain chance tomorrow. We're only going to call it about 10 to 20% chance. We kind of repeat that pattern again as we head into Saturday night. Skies clear, temperatures fall. A few more clouds come in as we head through the day on Sunday, but warmer temperatures will be here as we head towards Sunday as well. Look for those highs to make their way back into the 60s for the end of your weekend. Let's go and fast forward a little bit. We'll take a look at Monday. We told you that's our next best chance for storms heading to our region. That will come near the end of the day. So there's lots of time to get out and enjoy the weather, enjoy those 70s Monday. But as we get past 3, 4 o'clock, here comes that line of showers pushing through the region. This could include some thunderstorms, so make sure you're staying weather aware. Most of that rain gone by the time we head into Tuesday morning. We could see a few lingering showers before we get back to dry weather as we head into your Wednesday. Your 10 weather impact 7-day forecast here showing those temperatures cold as we head through today as we work our way into the afternoon. Again, not much of a warm up here. We go from those low 30s this morning and upper 30s this morning up into the 40s as we head to the afternoon. When it comes to the weekend, 50s out there as we head into Saturday. But again, we start off on that cold note, and that means if you're tailgating for Ohio State, bring the sweatshirts, bring the jackets. We're in the 30s out there to kick things off. The kickoff of the game will be in the 40s. Halftime, upper 40s. Final score, you'll leave the stadium in the 50s. We climb to the 60s on Sunday, 70s by the time we head into Monday. Keep in mind, though, those 70s come with that risk for storms. Some of them, again, could be strong. We do have that lower end risk across the region already. We will watch that carefully between now and Monday. Of course, if we need to put out an alert day, we'll let you know. Make sure you have the 10 TV app downloaded on your phone. You'll get those push notifications sent right to your pocket. Temperatures after that will be down in the 50s for Tuesday and Wednesday next week. But it's only a brief return to cool temperatures as we get right back up into the 60s as we head toward next Thursday.
I see no temperatures on there in the freezing zone, though. So that's,
yeah.
Seems like we're kind of rounding the corner there.
We're trying to get around that corner. I'm not as optimistic about tomorrow morning. I think somewhere, probably not here in Columbus, but somewhere in central Ohio, especially outside the city, will be below freezing. Maybe we could do it again Wednesday morning next week, but it's getting less and less for sure.
It is still mid-April, well, not even quite mid-April.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could still have those cold days as we've seen.
Oh, yeah, we could certainly get those cold days, and we can certainly get those rainy days in there, too. So I was glad this forecast is looking drier.
It's headed for some 70s, though.
Yeah, you got it.
Come on, summertime.
You can't beat the 70s. And speaking of the rain we've had and the flooding that we've had, right now a project is underway to lower the risk of flooding in a northern Ohio county. Finlay now has $60 million grant from the state of Ohio for the Eagle Creek flood basin. That project is designed to hold extra water during major rainstorms, helping to prevent flooding in the city and surrounding neighborhoods.
Just from the flood mitigation aspect, it sets the community up to be safe from flooding, from serious flooding risks. But if we can do that and provide an extra benefit to the community, it's all the better.
The project design is completed now, and engineers say that they're waiting for additional funding from FEMA with hopes of beginning construction this fall. And speaking of the flooding, in one town in Indiana, well, this week kayaks became the best way to get around town as floodwaters covered most roads. Liz DeSantis filed this report.
As the river rises, the town of Grandview seems to be sinking beneath the surface.
Easy out, easy back in, buddy.
Just off Main Street, kayakers float above the roads. Boats are now the only way to get across town uninterrupted.
We went that way and went all the way to the other edge of town. That's pretty deep in some spots. 15, 20 foot of water.
Flooding is a near yearly occurrence in the small riverfront town.
100-year flood in my lifetime. This is the 5th 100-year flood that I'm living to. 64 flood and 1997, 2011, 2018, and now the 2025.
This year, though, the water isn't finished rising yet. Spencer County Sheriff Sherry Heichelbeck says Grandview will see at least another foot of water before the end of the week. And it could even be as much as 2 feet.
Every day we have more and more roads closed, and every day it's creeping closer to houses. And it's starting to fill in those areas that it normally doesn't get to. So water is going to be an issue.
At least 50 roads across Spencer County have already closed for high water, while some are taking the opportunity to have some fun. People in the lower lying areas are preparing for water to reach levels they fear could be higher than any in recent memory.
Never had this amount of water come in, so we don't know how bad it's going to come up.
Move to a friend's house, move your vehicles, everything that you can move, and then, a little bit of prayer goes a long way as well.
If any of the three of them had said, I don't think it's a good idea, or I'm worried, I wouldn't have done it. But they were all so excited and enthusiastic for me.
If they were afforded the opportunity, if Will or Kirby or Oprah...
I refuse to answer that question.
Why, Gail?
No.
What would you say to them?
And that was part of a CBS interview of Gayle King, who will be part of a historic flight this coming Monday. She's one of a growing number of civilians taking flight into orbit. I don't know about you, Jay. Would you do that?
I would not.
You would not?
I don't think so.
I could be convinced. I might do it.
Like my life on Earth.
It's nice here down on Earth, but a number of us civilians going to space, going into orbit. Mark Strassman from CBS News breaks down this growing space tourism movement.
Space tourism, no longer science fiction, but science fact. Newly minted astronauts include tycoons Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson, and celebrities such as actor William Shatner.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the Starship Enterprise.
Of Star Trek fame.
The most profound experience.
Two companies, Bezos' Blue Origin and Branson's Virgin Galactic, will rocket you to the edge of space and back. It's a suborbital joyride, 50 to 60 miles above Earth, with a total trip time up and down lasting as little as 11 minutes. Nearly 120 people have launched with the two companies so far.
These are purely civilian flyers in most cases, and you have to call that space tourism.
And doing it for fun.
Yeah, pretty much doing it for fun. You're getting your 4 minutes of weightlessness. You're getting a view of the Earth that only astronauts have ever gotten before.
In 2022, mountaineer Vanessa O'Brien flew to the edge of space with Blue Origin and loved it.
You are able to see something that is so precious. It was seeing that blue marble from above, and it translates into a sense of almost responsibility and an appreciation that we really are all connected, that it is one planet.
Elon Musk's SpaceX offers next-level orbital adventuring. In 2021, billionaire Jared Isaacman financed Inspiration 4, an all-civilian crew of 4. They orbited Earth for 3 days. Another space company, Axiom, has chartered civilians all the way to the International Space Station. Ticket prices are reportedly stratospheric, roughly $500,000 per passenger for an up and down trip.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
Somewhere around $200 million to charter a SpaceX capsule into orbit.
Those up and down suborbital flights have a better chance of, getting down to an affordability level that might appear a bit more reasonable.
Will those flights be more affordable to more people anytime soon?
I do think the prices can get down to the point of an around-the-world cruise, something like that, in fairly short order.
So strap yourself in once prices begin to drop. The future of taking a selfie from space is already here.
And finally today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. We'll keep with the flooding first. This is from Louisville, Kentucky, where flooding is still continuing as we enter the weekend. The Ohio River, thankfully, starting to come down, but some of those areas, they're going to be underwater for some time, Jay.
Yeah, those are wild images, the dirty water.
Yeah, the flood water is just kind of nasty stuff. And I mean, that made it up to about 60 feet, I think, in elevation. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to take a while to come down.
Yeah, like you said, kayakers out there enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that video there. Those are some houses presumably next to where the river normally would be. It looks like it's almost up to the second floor.
Up to, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll switch out of the weather to some happier video to leave you with here on this Friday. This is for the first time ever evidence of an endangered chimpanzee using a stick as a tool in a national park in Gabon, I'm not sure if I said that correctly, to, well, poke at the camera there. The National Park Agency got this video there, as well as a NGO working for the preservation of wildlife in the region. He's a curious little guy there, trying to figure out what that camera's doing.
Don't underestimate those guys. They're smart.
The intelligence of animals is always wild to me.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, we have some of those little, cameras around our house, and our cat, every cat I've ever had, stares right into them. They look at it. They know it does something.
Oh, sure.
They know something is looking back at them. It's wild that they can even understand that much.
And they communicate amongst themselves. I mean, to them, we're probably the idiots here.
Yeah, they're like, what are these guys doing?
Right.
They don't know anything. And speaking of things that we are doing and things that we presumably know more about, that is the weather. And, well, tonight at 6 o'clock, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz, he'll be back to inform you about what he knows of the upcoming forecast and, well, the cold temperatures on the way this weekend. Till then, you can catch more at 10tv.com. Have a great afternoon.
Have a good weekend.